Om Shri Sai Ram. Good evening and welcome to our Saturday get together. When you experience the truth of life, when you experience the joy of life, and when you realize that the there are so many who are struggling uh, with the heaviness of life, you feel like you are compelled to share this truth again and again, again and again, again and again, till the very last breath, till there is an ounce of energy left. I feel that that's the only thing that needs to be shared with everybody. Because we know, at least I talk about when I say we, I'm talking of everyone who's there on the call, on the session today. We're all seekers of truth. That's the reason why we are here present. Otherwise, we would not join. Who would want to spend 1 hour, 2 hours of the precious time in a boring, silly call like this? But we've come together and we come together again and again every Saturday. For years, we've been doing this because we all want to experience what the Upanishads say is the reason of our birth. And the reason of this human birth is to experience that we are divine incarnate, that we are the supreme consciousness, that we are that peace, that truth, that love that we are seeking in this world resides nowhere else other than within us. And that is why this human birth takes place. That's why we come every week together so that we can too experience that truth. We can also experience that expansive ocean of love inside us, that we too can live in absolute bliss, in peace, no matter what's happening to the world around us, that we too can experience that heightened sense of awareness that makes us realize that we are none other than the God that we are seeking. That we want to also experience what it feels like being Jesus or Sai Baba or any of the masters that we have known or we love and we follow. And what is the difference between these realized beings, these masters that we have read about, we've heard about them, we've read about them, we've spoken about them, is that they experienced the oneness of consciousness. They experienced that they were not separate from all that their five senses were perceiving. And that we have not reached that level of awareness where we can also experience that oneness, that one flow, that one presence which pervades everywhere, which pervades everything, which is here, there, and everywhere, which does not differentiate between countries, nationalities, continents, oceans, land, sky, air, fire, that does not differentiate between religions, languages, that just sees that it is and it is everywhere. And that is the truth. Just because we have not experienced the truth does not mean that it is not the truth. In the dark, when we reach a city, we cannot see the city. We don't know what is there in the city. There may be a big TV tower, there might be a big lake, there might be a big amusement park. But just because we have not seen it, because we arrived in the night, doesn't mean that these structures don't exist in a city. In the same way, truth is truth, because truth doesn't change. Truth is changeless. The truth is there, we may not experience it. We may not have reached the point where we are aware of this truth. So, this is what we are all trying to do, is to experience this truth. And all that's happening around us in the world, in our families, is actually the play, is a scene where we are casted so that we can experience this truth. The consciousness, the Supreme One consciousness, knows exactly what we need, and therefore we are put exactly where we are. No one is at an advantage, and no one is at a disadvantage. No one has anything special working for them, because we keep looking for excuses of why it's not applicable to us. But actually, if we were to turn it around and to know that we are where we are supposed to be, because everything is perfect in consciousness, everything is put in place exactly as it is meant to be. And every situation and every event is brought in our lives so that we can learn something from it. We can grow not in size, grow not in our vocabulary, but grow in our experience and mature and stop doing the foolish things that we keep doing. So everything comes for a certain reason. There is a there is a reason, there is a season, there is a timing. Everything is very beautifully orchestrated, planned, and set in place. And all the plans are beautifully set up for us. We may not be aware that that is how it operates, because we have not reached that maturity, we have not reached that understanding, we have not experienced it so far. But that doesn't mean that it is not so. And the reason why we keep talking is that experientially, as we keep reminding ourselves week after week it starts to somewhere percolate inside us. That we start to go within. We start to find the answers of the truth of life inside us, and we stop running outside. We stop running to find it in particular places with particular people or at a particular time. And whatever is happening in this universe, whatever is happening in our planet, despite the chaos that you may think, despite the economic and other challenges that might be coming, be assured that it is a perfect stage for the evolution of the collective consciousness, not the individual consciousness. Because the collective consciousness has to shift for the age of love and light to come. This age is coming in, it has to settle in, but for that, not the individual few people, but the collective consciousness has to be raised. And the Supreme Consciousness has a plan. It has a perfect plan as always, because remember, our Vedas say that this whole universe came out of that one perfect whole, and everything that exists in this universe is part of that perfection. The only imperfection lies in our understanding, in our relationships, in the hypothesis that we have drawn. And out of our ignorance is why we find this world to be heavy, difficult, problematic. But it isn't like that. So, the outer situation, in terms of our relationships, in terms of the people around us, in terms of what's happening in our societies and in our countries, is then orchestrated in such a way that we can start going within. Because we are not accustomed to going within. If everything is going good, if everything is hunky dory in our life, who wants to go within? Because our instincts, our senses have been trained ever since we took birth to roam in the external space, in the external world, to look for everything outside, all our achievements, all our possessions, all that we have received so far, we have got from the outside world, from the external world. And so, therefore, we are not at fault that we still are looking for this peace and the truth of ourselves outside of us. No matter how many books we will read, no matter how many talks you will hear on YouTube or podcasts or wherever, will not take you to where you need to be till you practice it in your life. As I recently shared, that awareness is the key to transformation, but practice is the key to change. If we do not practice, if we do not practice to go within, then we will not get familiar with the Lord of life that resides within us. But we've been looking for it outside all the time. How do we practice to go within? That's why we say we should meditate, we should go into silence. That's why we started to come together every night to meditate together, because individually we find excuses. We said collectively we'll do it. But there I see the numbers are starting to drop. Some come, most of them, are busy. But the reason why we go into meditation is not because we like to close our eyes. It's not because, we want to have visions, we want to feel energetic experiences. It's because we want to make a connection with our own selves, the real self that resides deep inside, the God that we are seeking, the joy that we are seeking, the love that we are seeking, the truths that we are seeking. That is all inside us. And to get acquainted to this Lord of life, first we need to know that what we are seeking is not outside but is inside. Then only we would love to go within. Then only we would love to get connected with it. And then what's the way of getting connected with it? First is the knowledge, the understanding. Then it is to start practicing the state of silence, a state of stillness. Because all the time we are in motion, we're always doing things, we're constantly engaged in doing things, because that is how we have to live our lives. That is how we have to perform and discharge our duties and fulfill our responsibilities, because we cannot run away from those. So, therefore, our ancestors found a way of going into periods of stillness and silence, and they called it meditation. Meditation is nothing but a time to get acquainted to your own self. It's a time which we should generously set aside for spending with our own selves. It's not a formality, it's not a punishment, it's not something that you have to do. It is something that is necessary absolutely on this path, because only then can we start experiencing that zone of silence, that ocean of stillness, which is so deep and so profound, which is where the Lord of life resides, in that stillness. And unless we go that deep, unless our five senses, they become silent, they become still, unless they stop throwing things at us, we cannot meet this beautiful light within us. It's a gem, it's a pearl, it's a shining pearl which can be found only in the depths of the ocean of consciousness. And this ocean is not the blue ocean that we see outside, it is this ocean which is inside us. And that, once you start getting familiar with this, once you start getting comfortable with this idea of the stillness, and when you start spending this time joyfully with yourself, look at it as a time where you will get to meet your true selves. Because most of the time, if we see, we're either working or interacting with family members, or we are on YouTube, or we are listening to something. You know, today we live in a in a world of devices and of over communication. I went today to a physiotherapist for, you know, some treatment on my knees. And the physiotherapist and the attending nurse, I just could hear that they were constantly, while I was doing my exercises, they were constantly chatting. For that 30 minutes, they were constantly talking. We're so used to talking, we cannot remain silent. And and we are always looking for variety outside. Something, somewhere, someone else might just tell us something which is more interesting, right? When we know all that we need to know is already learned, read, understood, what we are lacking is the direct experience. Our Vedas call it Prataksha Praman, that experiential journey of realizing that with this peace, that Param Shanti, this love that we talk about, all of us talk about this love, is within us. And once you get in touch with this reservoir of love inside of you, not only you become peaceful and joyous, but people around you, no matter where you are, in the most crowded spaces of most stressed out people, you can actually start changing everything. You can start changing people. This energy is so beautiful, it's so pure, it's so wonderful that anyone that comes in the presence of this energy will surely be transformed. It's not possible that anybody will can stay away from it. That's the beauty of this pure, selfless love, which comes. You have to go a little deeper. It's like, you have to dig these oil wells to get the oils. This gasoline that drives all the vehicle. You have to go very, very deep in the surface of the earth and under our surface of the oceans to actually drill oil. Similarly, we have to go deep within ourselves to experience that our truth lies inside us and that it has nothing to do with the place that we are in. Stop, let's stop blaming our circumstances and let's accept, first of all, that we are in the perfect place and and that we have been put where we are because of our past. And instead of using all our energy in fighting our situation, we should utilize it positively towards experiencing the truth of life, because time is limited. Why do I say time is limited? Because this time is finite. We only have so many hours in a day, and we do not know how many hours of the day are still, or how many hours of our life are still left, how many more days or months or years or hours are left for us. So why postpone what is the goal of life? Why postpone the experience of this joy, this bliss, this love? Why let go of this opportunity? And my other request to all of you is, and some of you especially, please stop sharing too many messages you put in the group. If you really want to, first learn to practice what you want to share with the group. I want that we should first become one with the truth and then start to. We are not post boxes that we find something. Let one person do that job of sharing what needs to be shared. Okay? Let's be good students of life. Let's learn and be a teacher when you're ready to be a teacher. Sure, the world needs a lot of teachers, but we have had enough teachers who just theoretically know some things, but they want to teach. And that's why no change has happened in this world, because this world lacks credible role models, people with integrity who are able to walk the truth of life, whose very presence inspires people to fall in love, whose very presence inspires people to change, whose very presence brings light in our life. This is what the world is missing. The world has enough teachers who come knowing their subjects, and they can teach very, very innovatively, but they don't practice what they preach. And that's why this world is full of hypocrites. This is why everyone and every country says something else and they do something else. But what we are seeking is to become embodiments of this love, embodiments of this goodness. Ultimately, it's goodness that we are seeking. And no matter which country we are from, no matter which religion we have been raised upon, every religion, every country, every parent has taught their children to become good. It's a basic thing. Ever since we were kids, we were told, be good. That we needed to be good. We needed to be truthful. We needed to be honest. So, if goodness is what we are seeking, then we need to become good ourselves. Because what we seek is all within us. What we believe is what we do. We manifest that in our life. We say, Yad bhavam tat bhavati. Whatever is our inner feelings, that is what we manifest in our lives. So, if we are seeking this love, then let's become love. If we are seeking goodness in society, then we become good. Because goodness is God. And we all have our own standards of goodness. I found this standard a very simple standard. And I have said that to me, that is the definition of truth, is what I think. I should have the courage to say it. And what I say, I should be able to practice it in my life. And that's why I invite all of you to come here and stay in this Gurukula and, and experience firsthand for yourself what it means to live a life of Trikaran Shuddhi, to live a life where your thoughts, words, and your actions are aligned. To be, if we can set ourselves up to be open to a scrutiny by others, a scrutiny where you can live this life of integrity, of this truth, of this truth that we are embodiments of this love, then we do not need to teach anybody. Because remember, we all are looking for role models. We are all looking to imbibe this. We've had enough people talking about it, but we haven't found many who can actually walk that talk. That is what the world, why the world is suffering. It's suffering because of lack of authenticity. And so, therefore, I decided that I have found something and I'm going to live my life like that. And if some people want to join me and want to come and experience it, and if that will inspire them to change, to also experience what I have experienced, I will share everything that I have. You can come and figure it out if it works for you, but at least I can be an example which says it does work, right? Because the mind is always doubting, it's always questioning, it's debating, it's finding reasons of why it shouldn't be done. So, at least in this whole universe of why it cannot be done, there should be definitely some examples of how it can be done. It is possible to do it, and what happens when you do it. Credible examples. And so, most of you had the opportunity to come and experience it firsthand, and those who haven't in time will come as well. But that's the whole idea why we get together. And that why we hold retreats and programs as well is because then retreat is the time when the whole family comes together, when we all experience this joy together, and when we spread this light together. So it's like a biannual get together. Uh, and why we call ourselves as a family of love and a board of love, because we are indeed a family. We're all of us belonging to the same family of love. Doesn't matter what our nationalities are and where we live. What binds us together, what brings us together is this love. And I know that each one of you is experiencing that love in your heart. And that's the reason why we are together. If there is any way that this world can come together and this age of love and light will come, is when everybody will experience that one consciousness, when we will experience that we are bound by this thread of love. And this is that age where we are not expecting one more Jesus Christ to rise, one more master to come and redeem us, where this love will rise in our hearts. That will redeem us. That will redeem the world. Because every time a master comes, we start fighting. And we have always fought that my master is better than you. But this fight has to end. This external fight has to end about supremacy. And therefore, what can level everything? It's love. Love is the biggest leveler. Because love seeks nothing in return. Love is only giving. Love is only sharing. Love is only compassion. Love is when other is not even asking, you are still giving. That happens in a family. This is what is the love of a mother. This is what is the love of a father. Right? The whole world has to become as one family, where this love has to start flowing through to everyone. This compassion has to flow. And that is what brings us together as one. That makes us come together as one family, the Vasudeva Kutumbakam, one family, one earth, one world, one humanity. And unless we experience this love first in our hearts, and we tap into this unlimited, infinite ocean of love, there's no way we can transform others. There is no way we can impact others. There is no way we can bring this change in this world. But once we do that, like me, you'll all join me, and we'll all start together bringing this love to the world. Just imagine this trickle by trickle, drop by drop, this becomes a river, rivulet. A rivulet becomes a river becomes a big river, and then it merges with the ocean. We are living on a physical planet. It's called planet Earth. It has its own laws, like the law of gravity, like the law of karma. It's a physical place. We have physical bodies. Each one of us has a different body. It has its own inherent health conditions. So that's what is given. It's not a problem. It's actually for what we have to do, perfect bodies have been given. Perfect families have been given. Perfect resources have been given or not given. It's all perfect. And using this, we'll have to follow and abide by the physical laws of this universe. And this physical law means that anything, any change has to be brought, first has to come to us. And we then start to impact people around us, which is the family. Then we start to impact around us, the society. And it has to physically move. It cannot happen that it comes to one, it comes to everybody. There is one Jesus Christ who comes, who just, taps us on our head and everybody starts getting transformed. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen like that. It's a journey, it's a culmination of our own effort. When we make a house, we have to make an effort of first earning money, and hundreds of people have to work to, to build this house, and it takes months and years to make a house. To make an aircraft, it takes millions of dollars and most sophisticated machinery and skilled workers to make an aircraft. To make anything, effort is required because this is the law of a phenomenal world. Effort. So, for this love to come in, we have to first make the effort to experience this love within us, to get connected to this source of love which is inside. And once we've done that, then everything starts to happen. We have to understand deeply ourselves, experience then ourselves, and then all doership ends. Doership is only till we find ourselves. Once we are that, then beingness starts, effortlessness starts, spontaneity starts, and everything around us begins to change. But what is it that we've been doing so far? We've been trying to change everything around us other than changing ourselves, because that's tough, that's hard. And we have so many excuses. Everybody has an excuse. You give a date, people have a problem with the date. You give anything, there is always a reason where we are trying to find reasons of why we can do it differently and how we want to change it. This is human nature. Not accept what has come and try to make it happen for you, always trying to find a way of figuring out something else should happen for it to be acceptable to us. We're not willing to let go of our patterns, our ideas, our rigid belief systems, and we want the world to change. It won't change till we change. And that's the only way for any change to happen. So it's all inside us. So let's not put our limited resources. What is our biggest limited resource? It's time. We don't know how many hours are left. What is it that we are still waiting for? What is the invitation that we are still waiting for to make us consume and fulfill this mission on this planet Earth. If you can figure out what is this invitation that you are waiting for, please let me know. I'll try and make a beautiful invitation for you. Okay. And Atma Chalisa, this pathless path that we have spoken about, and many of you have done it, was an effort, an endeavor to try and take you on an guided invitation to experience that one consciousness. Okay, and some of you have done now the advanced 21 days of sadhana and have gone further and deeper on that. And I'd like the ones who have done it to share their experience uh, with the group so that those who feel that they are ready to move into the next level, they can go into an advanced state of sadhana. But it should be not because somebody else has done it. We often do a lot of things because we know our neighbor has done it, and oh, someone else has done it, I should also do it. It's only for the serious seekers who want to make a change. If you want to be a crybaby and keep complaining about things, then I think don't waste your time and effort with it. But those who are willing to seriously do something, right? Those are the ones who will finally get it. I had someone very interesting who wrote to me, who's on the call right now, uh, who got to know that we are doing this retreat in the month of December in Kunur, and said something to the effect of this. These are not the exact words, but the sentiment was, he's an aged person, and said that the minute I saw the invitation, my heart leapt out and was prompting me to say yes. But then I realized that it was the month of December and it might be cold. But then you, as my teacher, have taught me never to run away from the circumstances, but to accept it and to know that everything will work out, for my highest benefit. So, and I know that I will be taken care of and I'll be protected. And so, therefore, I'm coming. It was so beautiful to receive that message, to have that understanding that everything of mine is going to be taken care of because my teacher is calling me, and that my teacher takes care of everything. Because who's the teacher? The teacher is a representation of that one consciousness. And once that faith kicks in, once that experience comes in, the whole of consciousness waits to open its doors for you. All you have to do is to be clear in your mind. You have to resolve. You have to take the steps. But we keep waiting for that perfect moment, for that perfect time, for that perfect place when we will do it. And for them, I have said, keep waiting. Vedas have said, we are patient. We'll wait for you in another lifetime at another time. So, my dear lovelies, beautiful souls, my own family of love, I say, do it now. Don't wait. Don't postpone to experience the most beautiful experience that awaits us. The time is now, and the opportunity is now. So, with that, thank you so much. I love you all. You're just so amazing. So, love you guys. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.